This is Joyce
and Blake, and welcome to Savagely Scaled.
So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the WFP, or the World Fitness Project. So I don't know about you, Blake, but I've been seeing a lot of posts out there of the World Fitness Project, and I've even seen other athletes promoting the World Fitness Project, saying that they're going to be participating and being part of that event. Amongst some of them is Chandler Smith. I think I saw Brooke Wells on there too. So we want to find out more about what is the WFP, what makes it different than the CrossFit Games, and also just a little bit more information of what it involves and it encompasses. So we'll deep dive into it in this episode.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, so let's talk about the World Fitness Project. So the World Fitness Project started off as a nonprofit organization called Good Life that dedicates itself to helping underprivileged youth learn about fitness, and also provides free coaching and workout programs to underprivileged areas such as Africa, Costa Rica, and Alabama. So the creators of WFP wanted to create a gym or an HQ in Tennessee that will allow them to host a competition that allows various athletes that he felt were either, injured or cut short, sick, or were unable to participate in something like the CrossFit Games. So he wanted to create something that is not just single elimination. So he opted for something more diverse, something like a tour, to create more continuity and consistency. So we'll get into a little bit more detail of what that is. But overall, the emphasis of WFP is just acknowledging safety, a knowledgeable staff, and they pride themselves with the slogan built by athletes for athletes.
Yeah, and I know Will Morad, who is an elite athlete, he's gone to semifinals, games, he's trained with Matt Frazier, he's
very
trained
handsome.
with HWPO, is one of the leading for this World Fitness Project, which, as Joyce said in the beginning, we did notice that several athletes, I think when I noticed it was when everything happened with the games last year, and there's a lot of athletes what are we going to do? Is this something are we going back to it? And I feel that's when I started seeing athletes saying, I signed up for FP.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this thing? And
it looked legit. Yeah. On their branding and everything.
And their Instagram wasn't as informational as it is now when they were starting it. Cause I was all I see is their logo, and
you're right,
the athletes with the signed. And I'm like, what is this? So we're to go into they have their vision, they have their mission, they have their things that they, what matter to them, their team and such forth, and their core values, and kind of depict or break everything down. And then Joyce's going to go over the rule books and everything for that, because I am very confused by it. But I can see what they're doing. So let's start with their vision. So in their vision, they go on about how the world is often driven by the hype and short-term gains, which I can see that. And they stand for something different. They prioritize people over profit, integrity over shortcuts, and genuine achievements over empty recognition. And their goal is to foster a competitive landscape that values hard work, dedication, and the spirit of the sport. So in a term that I feel with that is stick it to the man, down with the big system.
That is funny that you said
corporate.
that, because that's exactly what I felt when I first heard of WFP. I'm like, oh, what a coincidence that they're jumping in right after all of the Dukic stuff happened. It did seem a little oh, let us take advantage of this opportunity, jump in and offer a different competition that says that it values safety, and how is that not going to want all these athletes to look into that, right? I mean, we fell into it. We clicked on that link and we're like, oh, let's hear it. And I think a lot of athletes feel exactly the same.
Yeah. So, and it's just crazy, because I was like, oh, okay, well, this is going to be the new CrossFit Games.
Yes.
With going into 2025, with how the 2024 games left, it was very is this the end of CrossFit? I know a lot of people are talking about that. And I was like, oh, is this WFP gonna replace it? And a little part of me was like, but I really, really love CrossFit as a whole. And you guys, like with our affiliate segments that we do, like since we've been doing them, it just makes my heart even bigger. Always hearing like it's the community that makes us stick here. Yep. And I didn't start noticing that until I was older with CrossFit, like that I have created bonds with people, but it's even in this younger age, they're seeing that too. So then I was like, well, what is WFP going to bring to it in a sense? Because it also reminded me of the PFAA, like how CrossFit has now their team of what is like the PFAA. So I'm like, it's like CrossFit and their whole engulfing of everything. And now you have WFP and PFAA, all these F's and P's. And I feel like they're kind of more on the same game train because it's about like the athletes for the athletes by athletes. Right. You know, and then they're offering that path for athletes at every stage of their journey. And I'm like, that's kind of like CrossFit though, you know, every stage. And I know that they're starting to grow more with things like, there's an owners and coaches conference. And I was like, I really want to go to that, but it's in New York.
We're going to New York, like, the Big Apple.
And like they have things like that for the owners and coaches to go and have these talks. Cause I've always wanted to know, like, does CrossFit ever do like a conference? You know, and I know we have the games and we have like competitions that have all the gear and everything, but you hear about these hair conferences, you know, pet conferences, animal shelter conferences.
You mean kind of like showcase?
Kind of like, that. And then have like those special speakers and those athletes signing and then like those different programs. Like I want to work on gymnastics. Hey, there's a gymnastics class, sign up for it. Right. Hey, there's a weightlifting seminar, sign up for it. Like these different things. And I always was like, is this ever going to be? I know CrossFit is huge, but I feel like these other corporations that put on these showcases and conferences are also huge.
You know, I'd like the idea of like a Coachella for CrossFit or something, and they have like classes, and then you learn, and then that'd be really cool.
Yeah, and not like a competition going on as well. Like actually these things, and like say Tier put on, you know, a showcase. Or like Fleo sponsoring like a gymnastic thing for the high gymnastics. And I know
Rogue doing like a lifting like seminar.
And I know Power Monkey does that. But that's more like a summer camp for adults, you know, paying thousands of dollars to do it. Which if I had the money, I would so do that. Or if we had somebody sponsoring us, I would so do that and talk about it and do a whole episode about it. About our experiences. Yeah. But I mean, going back to the WFP, because we kind of went on a tangent, they also talk about like bringing the sport to new heights and building a comprehensive fitness ecosystem that fosters growth from the ground up. Because they're looking at every stage of a journey. And I'm like, still, I'm like, isn't that kind of like CrossFit?
Oh, yeah. I feel like they're pretty much copying what CrossFit is doing.
Yeah, but they're saying it in a more laid back perspective that's easier for me to digest as a simple-minded folk.
I feel like it feels like less intense than CrossFit. Like because
we're here to help, like a surfer just explaining to me.
We're just here to work out and have fun throughout the whole year, guys. Not just the games, but throughout the whole year. And I think, and it's kind of nice because I think the intent was, you know, a lot of athletes train day after day for just one event, I guess 1 3-day weekend. And they're like, how do we improve that so that the athlete has more opportunities to win more money, to make more of a livelihood with this sport? And I think in bringing the tours and bringing the trials and all of this was kind of an opportunity to allow athletes to do that throughout the entire year and not just during the CrossFit Games season. So I think that's kind of something that they too wanted to add to that. And we can go in and deep dive into like all of the events that they do that qualify under the World Fitness Project. But I think from what I read, it's over 1,000 participants have pretty much participated so far through the online things and everything. So
Oh, wow.
let's dig deep, I guess, and look into some of the...
There's still more stuff.
Oh, there's still more. Tell me more, Blake.
So going into, you know how you said like athletes by athletes, well, they have this, and this to me was like a little kind of backhanded thing, but not like this should be in your face CrossFit, because they were saying people matter more. And their whole thing about that is this organization where people come first, right? That's not just the heads that come first or the sponsors that come first. They literally say everyone, and they start with the athlete. You know, they say the athlete comes first, the partners, and then the team members are all valued and they are all prioritized. So, and that's where I'm like, okay, this is becoming more and more prevalent or bigger in our faces, because how CrossFit has put down like, oh, we are making these groups. Oh, we are doing this. Sometimes when you look at those, they're like, well, I mean, what are they bringing to the table? Like, these are people who are outsiders. I know that like we as the people didn't say, hey, they should be prevalent in CrossFit. Hey, they should be this. I know a big part of us were like, hey, they should be the athletes that are saying that they are concerned.
Right.
Or past safety people who have worked, you know, for Wadapalooza and things like that. You know, like these things, because I'm like, how come nobody else on the PFAA could have been that? You could have been like, hey, the president of the PFAA is now going to be a part of this group. He's going to work both because
like
that's
collaborate.
what
Yeah.
And so I'm like, were we just picking these because why? And again, with being transparent, and their bios, it is a reason why, but some of them I'm like, they have nothing to do with the fitness of anything. Yeah. So like with this, I'm like, they're like saying we are for these athletes. We have concern for them, because their concept is not a new one, right? Because everybody says they're for the athletes. And then when you dig deeper, it's more for we're there for the money. And then the sponsorships because of the money, and then the partners, and then everybody who gets paid, and then for the athletes.
Because I haven't even seen anything about sponsorship on their site now that I think about it.
There's they have the three. They have the Concept 2, they have Pliability, and then they have that Italian Velites, which is just signed up with the CrossFit games, signed for the 2025.
So they might be friendly, you know, like maybe with the games. And
I think it's also like maybe
too new.
Or maybe just like, hey, CrossFit, it is doable. Yeah. You need to do it. So like their leadership team has spent like 4 decades building successful organizations rooted in philosophy, and it remains the core of their culture that these people are important. But here's the thing. When I go on here, when I go on their website, and this is just me just going on their website, I can't see who their actual team is.
No, yeah.
So I can read that and I'd be like, yeah, your team's philosophy, 4 decades of creating this and going for it and building it.
Impressive resume, but who are you? And I know it says Will Morad is leading it, but maybe they haven't figured that out yet.
I don't know. So it's like something that to think about. And I know more as it's gone on, they're like, it's like little pebbles of like, oh, but look at this. And it's really cool because you know how we are as a society. We're like, oh, shiny, new. Okay. Oh, they just dropped something. Oh, a new athlete. Oh, this. Oh, this. So this is really, really good. I know that it's just that and then again, they talk about their team about being a diverse group, passionate professionals. They're committed to creating like connecting the world with fitness, you know, which is really big this season. You know, we're trying to do it more and more. I know for years, people want to get healthy. We're always talking about like eating healthier, fitness, being more friendly. And I know CrossFit is doing that too. At least the affiliates that we have been to are voicing that. And they're doing it with higher age groups, even the kids and the elderly. I shouldn't say elderly, our masters group, yes. Right? And I know, because my body feels elderly
all week.
And doing that too. So I feel like in a sense, like WFP and the affiliates that we're going through and our lifestyles right now and what we're trying to do for the world goes hand in hand. So I don't know.
They do seem pretty green though. They do feel still like they're, mind you, it is their first year since they released the website and everything.
Yeah. And it's very like, I don't know. It's just words to me. Like you go on CrossFit.com, you go on PFAA, like you can see their board.
It is
you can
overwhelming,
see the people who,
yeah, I'm like,
it is. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
You go on there and they have the moving pages and things like that. And I'm like, okay.
I get overwhelmed sometimes.
Or like when I was like, I'm just trying to put my score in and I just want to see what level I'm at.
Right.
And how the app and the computers for certain people. No. But like even when they talk about like their team, again, it's still successful business owners, nonprofit directors, fitness community members, and skilled leaders who all share that support for global fitness community. But I'm like, there's no name.
Hey, but the shopping tab though, that thing's going strong.
Yep.
I'm just kidding. No, but honestly, like I'm with you. I feel like, okay, it's their first year. Let's see what's going to come of this. I feel like a lot of athletes are participating and are becoming a part of it. So that excites me. That tells me a little bit of like, this must be serious if some of our top athletes are participating. I mean, Chandler Smith, Gazan, Pat Vellner, Wells. I mean, I trust them.
It is. And I think it's because of the core values that they also spread. Their core values are safety, competition, and community. Right? So they're striving to create that environment where these values coexist at every stage of the athlete's journey.
Oh, even Justin Medeiros and Hopper are in here.
And then they have the collaboration and open-mindedness. So this is where also I feel like when 2024 went down for the games and everything went down for those athletes and these athletes got together and talked about it, Brooke Wells was on a podcast. Tons of people have gone on and voiced about it on different podcasts or even on their Instagram for stories. And they talked about how they were met with, we're going to give you transparency, but not. We're going to, yes, we want to hear from you, but we don't. So when they are literally trying to collaborate and have open mind with these athletes, I feel like they were like, aha, this is where CrossFit had its downfall for last year. So let's actually make it a priority in ours. Whether they do or not, we will see.
We have yet to
see. They're a brand new thing. It's kind of like, even though High Rocks has been around, the CrossFit community is going into it and things like that.
And then where CrossFit dropped the ball, man. That's what I feel like just... I'm not going to say ruin them because they're still going strong, but that was something that I feel pulled a lot of people away into like venturing into High Rocks or venturing into like World Fitness Project.
Well, like CrossFit had like when I was a baby CrossFitter, their regionals and everything were different. It was kind of like this based on points, right. And then you can go different places. You didn't have to like sign up. If you were designated on the West Coast, you had to do it on the West Coast. You still had points and they were different types of throwdowns and things like that. And so I can see them kind of bringing that back, but I feel in the same sense, CrossFit is doing that as well this season, right? Their semifinals are completely different as well.
That's why I feel like it's going to be good because it's kind of like a showdown.
Yeah. And then the last thing is adaptability. So for their key principles is that growth requires flexibility, and they want to embrace the change and innovation which serves their athletes and the broader community. The biggest thing that they say over and over and over and over again in all these statements is the broader community and their athletes. And I think that's just because they took a note from CrossFit and CrossFit was not listening to the community and was not listening to the athletes. From my perspective, during this was on Joyce's couch in Kingman watching it. That's my perspective. I was not there, so I cannot have that perspective. I am not an athlete. I don't have that perspective. It was somebody who does CrossFit, who loves the community and watching it. And that's a very minimal perspective.
Right.
It's not a big one like others. So I just, by reading this, just see like,
You feel defensive.
I feel like, oh, I like it.
But I want to protect
CrossFit is this way too. Oh, I like it. So I don't.
Girl, that's the struggle many of us. Yeah, I think that's the difficult part. But I think there's no need to jump the gun. There's so much yet to see. I feel like giving them an opportunity to, show us what they got, I think is always a good thing.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just noticed right now that Dukic is also one of in the roster. I did not know that.
Yeah, and he's not doing I knew that.
Ah, okay.
But well, do you want to go into
the details of what they are? All right, let's do it. So mind you guys, like Blake mentioned, we were in the website and we were doing our best to understand how the qualifiers and everything works because it was a little overwhelming. But I'm going to try and make it as easy as I possibly can with this overview. But don't ask us much because we might not be able to answer it. But
I do see this though. Let me just interject this. So they say over 500 athletes, and the series features 34 contracted pro athletes.
Oh.
So like the pro athletes are contracted.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense. That's good for them. They get a little bit of money because they're contracted.
See, and this is why Joyce's on this team, because she knows all the big words, what they mean, and how to tell me things.
Your girl likes to save a little penny, because I did notice somewhere there like the pros don't have to pay like fees to like participate too, which I was like, that's kind of nice. Like that's somewhere on there. Again, I need to quote it somewhere, but they did mention how some don't pay fees, some do, and I'm like, that's really interesting. But let me jump in really quickly on what the qualifiers, challengers, and the tour looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So the 2025 World Fitness Project consists of 2 online challenger qualifiers that again are performed online, 2 tour stops, and 1 World Fitness Trials and 1 World Fitness Finals. So to get started, the World Fitness Project Online Challenge Qualifier. So that happens first. The online qualifiers are designed as the entry points to the 2025 challengers so that you can earn access to the tour. So each tour stop will have an online qualifier, and then the online challenger qualifiers for any athlete that has not received a pro card for the 2025 season. So after the online qualifier, we go to the World Fitness Project Tour, and there's 2. So Tour 1 and Tour 2 are both composed of 3-day competitions, each with 500 points up for grabs. So the pro divisions will include the 20 signed pros that will be joined by the top 10 finishers in the online challenger qualifier. The challenger divisions will be composed of the athletes who finished 11 to 30 in the online challenger qualifier. And then alongside these individual divisions, we also have teams of 4 and duo divisions as well. So 2 people. After the tours happen, again, there's 2, they will have the World Fitness Trials. So the World Fitness Trials is another online qualifier for the remaining spots in the finals. This would be for teams and duos. It takes place over 3 weeks in October. It says the 6th through the 26th, and there will be 2 workouts per week for a total of 6 workouts. And then lastly, for the finals, that's the final stop in the entire season. So it will be 4 days where 20 signed men and 20 women pros compete with the top 10 male and female point earners across the tour stops 1 and 2.
Yeah. And then they said the journey starts in Indianapolis, moves to Mesa, Arizona, and then it finishes in Copenhagen, Denmark. So the finals is in Denmark.
That is so cool.
Right? And that's where they test the athletes with the 9 workouts spread across the 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, dang, that's nice. So I do like that part of it. And it does say how it has elite, intermediate, and scaled, and masters and teens.
We're going to Denmark. I wish.
I know, right?
That's pretty cool.
But it is like there's I don't know where it's going.
Do you think it's interesting with the online qualifiers? Which, I mean, I guess it's pretty similar to CrossFit too, but
yeah, because they have that challenger too is like the people who didn't make it just just as much. And then they have that challenger thing.
I like the idea of tours because then you could go see your favorite athletes if you want in the middle of the year just to see. I mean, personally, I would love to just see my favorite athletes work out, whether it's for a competition or not.
Right. And it's for like, you could think of it as like watching like any other sport, like how a football
like
with
soccer matches
and how each team, this is just with one player.
It's so weird that we're we just want to see people sweat and work out and in the same spot, not move around,
So I know that you were talking about financial backing. So it was with the Gillette family that provides the substantial financial backing. The Gillette family is the one that's financing a lot of it, and it's Beth that is serving as the LLC's registered agent, and its structure will give funding for multiple seasons, it says.
Wow.
So this funding supports athletes signing bonuses and operational costs for 3 major competitions. The core team confirms additional external investors stand ready to support future expansion plans. So they're also looking at the future, right? And it did go into like the team consists of, let's go back into Will Morad, 6-time CrossFit Games veteran. He's the one who sparked the plans for the Nashville-based performance facility. It also grew internationally, and Jason Ansley now leads the event director for the North America. And then you have Roger Nilsson, who directs European operations. So, and this was on a different site, not their site. So if you guys feel like we were looking at the wrong site, I literally went to WFP's site and all their missions and everything. And I wish they had this stuff on there. But that's also why we look into it. Oh, it says also pro versus challenger and what those are, because the pro is like, to me, the elites.
Yes. The celebrity CrossFitters. That's what
so they're the
say.
ones who score higher points, and their last place finishers receive more points than challenge divisions winners. So even if you're in the last place, you receive more than that challenger division. Athletes ranked 11th through 30th as qualification makeup as the challenger division, because Joyce did go over how if you were 1 to 10 is pro, 11th to 30th is a challenger division where they can earn points to achieve future pro status. Which is like, so is that always a growing number? What's the number to get to pro? Can you get that number taken away? Does each season you start? I would think with each season, because they're
fresh,
though they were saying the winners of the 2025 automatically get their pro cards for 2026.
I mean, I guess it makes sense because they want you to come back the next year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It was
this from Barbell Spin?
No, this is from everythingcrossfit.com.
I was going to say, guys, Barbell Spin 2 has like great videos.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and information on like,
and they have great news stuff, because I also got that. I was on Barbell Spin.
Yeah, I'm like, that's
on
where
here.
They have
Barbell Spin.
A lot of good stuff on there too.
But yeah, like Joyce went over, like, as of the beginning of this year, there was the men that were confirmed as Chandler Smith, Pat Vellner, Yola Holste, Roman Krinikov, Victor Hofer, Justin Medeiros, Dallin Pepper, Jason Hopper, and they have Alex Gazan, Brooke Wells, Alexis Raptis.
I know the roster's amazing. I'm not gonna lie.
There's potential. They have Tia Claire Toomey Orr, Laura Harvath, Daniel Brandon, Ariel Lohman, Emma Lawson, Emily Rolfe, which is surprising because the confirmed women, there's only 3 compared to
what they're showing.
Compared to the confirmed men, because the other ones that I named were potential, so they're not signed. So it just depends on that, right?
And I'm like, there's better information on all these other places
than their actual website. That's what I don't like. Because I'm like, well, who's supporting it? Who's this? I like to go to a website and find everything. Because like, I just go back to the PFAA. Like right when I heard that name, I went online and you saw everything, their mission, how to contact them, who's on their board, the athletes that they've talked to, the things that they've given CrossFit throughout a couple of the years and the trials that they've gone through with that.
That's true.
I am very old fashioned with websites and I like all my information. I have
and
now
in jumbo text, please.
Yes. And I have now come into my 60-year-old phase at 36.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
So then let's just touch on the pro and challenger division requirements. So the pro division maintains strict standards and athletes earn their status through consistent performances. The challenger division covers competition ranked 11th through 30th. We've gone over that. Athletes in both divisions compete for 2026 pro cards, and the only top 20 men and women secure these. Okay, well, you've already said that. Good thing I read that. Oh, but the age group and team division. So here's the divisions. Elite, intermediate, and skilled teams. 4-person mixed gender. Then you have master division, 35 to 49 and 50 plus, complete as same-sex pairs. Teen or next gen is 14 to 16 and 17 to 19. And then each division is limited to 30 teams for elite, intermediate, and skilled. So what I just heard is you cannot be intermediate or skilled if you are an individual. You are a challenger or a pro. Everything else for the groups is elite, intermediate, and skilled teams. And then you have master division, which compete as same-sex pairs. So masters is pairs. And then teen is the 14 to 16 and 17 to 19. And then there's still 30 teams for elite, intermediate, and skilled levels.
God, how overwhelming.
Yeah. See, this is the only thing. Like when we were talking, because we researched it differently, and then we came together and I sat down and I was like, Joyce, I don't understand any of this. This is a lot of information, and I don't get how people are going to do this.
That's why you have a coach, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Just tell me what to do, coach.
Yeah. But
yeah, it's hard to navigate on your own. It really is. I was like, we'll do our best.
Yeah.
Provide the resources, but I am excited to see what's going to come of this and how athletes feel about it. But
let's end this whole thing with how much people are going to get paid. Because remember, CrossFit, there was a couple competitions. Like I remember the one in Australia where people from the prior year still hadn't gotten paid.
What?
Yeah. There's like that's so when you have that financial backing and all these sponsorships and all these paid, and you see them with those big checks.
I didn't know that.
For some of these regionals or semifinals. That's just some of them weren't getting paid. And I remember, especially for the Australia one, they're like, is anybody going to come back? Because last year's didn't get paid. So unless you pay me for last year, like, how do I know if I'm competing to get paid for this year?
That's horrible.
So yeah, CrossFit was doing that because I need to look more into that about what happened, because sometimes with those semifinals, they're like, well, if you're hosting it, that's on you to fundraise that money. Right. So it's like,
damn.
And then my brain goes, ding, ding, ding. Is that why our semifinals are different this year? Because you know that they've been losing money.
Oh, heck yeah.
I mean, everybody's losing money nowadays, but they've been losing money. You know, and the year after COVID, or was it last year that they were like, we broke even? And I was like, that's good because everybody's losing money nowadays. So let's go into what kind of money these people are going to get or are promised. So for this, the pros earn a 6-figure contract worth up to $100,000. So the prize money follows a sliding scale that ensues fair compensation. So second place finishers get between 50 to 75% of the winner's purse, while third place earnings adjust proportionately. These contracts are non-exclusive, so the athletes can compete in other events throughout the season, which is nice, right? Because there's some places, I'm not saying CrossFit because people compete in high rocks, do other things, but there's some where you can only, if you sign a contract, you can only compete with them. I feel like it's like NFL, you can only compete with them unless they get rid of you. Which, a side note, which I bet so many of you listeners know this. I was asking my husband because the draft is going on.
That's right.
And I was like, wait a minute. If they trade people and they still had a contract, let's say the Eagles traded with the Panthers, right? Mm-hmm. So the Eagles were like, yeah, you can have our running back. And I was like, wait a minute, but he just signed something 3 years ago for a 5-year contract. Mm-hmm. He still has 2 years. And he was like, yeah, they still pay him for those 2 years. And I go, and then the Panthers would pay him too? He's like, yeah. And I said, this is why astronomical amounts of money, and you're still getting astronomical amounts of money from the other team that contracted you out, even though you're not with them. I was like, dang. But then I was like, wait, doesn't like...
I'm in the wrong profession, y'all.
But look, I was looking at it and I was like, wait, doesn't the practice team only make like $30,000 a year? And he's like, yeah. And I go, those people have to have like 2 or 3 jobs and be in a practice team? But these other big name people who are getting traded for contracts. And they get...
Capitalism.
Tons of them get tons of money, right? And it's only the smart ones that invest and save, because once they're gone, tons of them don't got no more money. And I'm true. Like, but you had 2 teams who were giving you money. I was like, huh.
I did not know that either. That's insane.
Another thing is because I do not know.
That's a lot of money.
Right. I do not know height. So like, I've watched football all my life, and I even talked to my husband. I was like, how come you didn't get into football or baseball? And he's like, I'm too short. And I was like, you're taller than me. He's like, most of those people are like, the shortest is 5'11", if that. Yeah. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah.
We're not cutting it.
Yeah. I was like, short people we're made to go to gymnastics. Only women.
Maybe endurance running.
Or ice skating.
For short people, really?
Yeah,
I was thinking like long distance running, but
long distance running is for tall, skinny people. Short distance. Remember,
I'm not a sprinter though. I'm horrible at sprinting. You might be better at sprinting. Sprinter. Are you really? Are you really though?
When I'm by myself, yeah.
What do you mean when you're by yourself?
I win every time.
Well, obviously, but. You know what I meant.
I don't know. I never I don't compete with running.
I think you were faster than I was for sure.
Oh yeah, that one time that I moved your bar. Of course, I moved your bar.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were like, get out of the way, and it took me a few seconds. By the way,
hey, she's moving my bar. I mean, nobody said that was against the rules.
Nobody said anything about that. So sucks for you, man. Suck it up. Don't be a baby.
So what? Don't bring back what I said earlier.
Man.
So let's talk about our conclusions. Jenny's
that's what you get for calling my mom. Yeah, she's like, stop calling my mom a baby.
You're the baby, Blake. Yeah. I know, Jenny. I'm a big baby today. Well, let's go. Let's just do our conclusion of what we feel for the WFP. I feel like their website should be better.
That's her first feelings.
Because I feel like every mission, statement, goal, everything was the same thing about how they're going to do better than CrossFit athletically wise, and how they're wanting to introduce this to the community.
Yeah, that's how they're coming across.
And I'm like, bro, if you put it in there 20 times, you better do it.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm excited. I'm like, because if they do this, this could be huge.
If you do, you better do.
Yes, you better do. And I hope they do. Because it seems honestly like I do love CrossFit, but I'm totally okay with more opportunities to have more competitions and if they collaborate, that's even better, right? If there's ways for us to kind of bridge that gap and work together, that's great. I think from the perspective of WF, where they're coming from, I think, and so far it shows that they do want to get that community involved in their project, and they're doing all they possibly can to make that happen, from like you said, giving them contracts where they're already paid and things like that, or waiving fees to register. I think they're doing it in a way that sounds beneficial, but now is it going to be sustainable? It's going to be the thing.
Because how much is this? I know with CrossFit, like getting those places, getting those permits. And that's
And in Denmark, girl?
I know. And that's sometimes where you cut corners, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, we can do this in a state park compared to this because we don't have to pay as many fees. We don't have to have as much safety. We don't have to have as much as this. So if that comes in play and athletes start to say, hey, is that when you're going to listen?
Yeah.
Because CrossFit put a lot of safety stuff, or that we assumed, right? We always assume things until like we fall on our face and realize, oh, you didn't have our back on things. So you can say a lot of this until it starts. Now, because it is their baby year, how many hiccups are they going to have, and how many people are going to scrutinize them because of it? Because they are saying, hey, we are going to listen to athletes. Oh, we are going to have these safeties. Oh, we do have this. And like you said, the backing. It did say that, you know, Beth Gillette, with being that LLC agent and that family backing a lot and having those sponsorships for a couple of years or future events. But yeah, you haven't put on events yet. You don't know the downfall. You don't know how many things you're going to have to, because are there judges? Do you have to hire the judges? Are you paying the judges?
I'll volunteer.
Yeah. Volunteers. You can have volunteers. I volunteered tribute.
I know. I'm like, take me to Denmark.
Who are the brands? Like things like what does all that go into? And these are just more questions. So then I'll be reaching out to them to be like, hey, what are for these events? What are these going on? And whether they reach back out to me or not, I'll just keep bugging them.
Be like, do you need a volunteer to judge?
If you need a volunteer, I can
Especially
help
for
you.
the finals, you know?
I don't want to judge. I'll be like, this is your lane. Oh my God, hi, this is your lane. Good luck.
I mean, my name is Blake.
Yeah. Hi, how are you today? Lane 2, please. No, lane 2. Lane 2.
I'm like, where's this Blake been all day?
What? How is she talking to those people? I just said hi.
She's not normally like this.
Yeah.
Oh,
you want me to judge? No, thank you.
You want me to rub your muscles? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's never mind.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man,
these are all Joyce's. What Joycey wants.
Joyce's thoughts.
And here I'm just like, hey,
you're like,
I'd rather be like the welcome person. Like, what's your name? Let me check you in. All this stuff. Hey, how are you doing today? Get your free lunch. Tell me how it is.
Oh man, I love it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to hear about it. It sounds like good intentions are definitely had for this, but like you mentioned, we just need to see the follow through. And if it does, it's going to be a good thing. But if it doesn't, it's definitely going to be, it's going to bring me down, man, because I was really excited for it. And what a logo. I love their logo too. I was like, oh man,
I love their colors and their logo. So it is. It's like, okay, I also have to tell myself, like, hey, it's their baby years.
Yes.
I'm sure this is how CrossFit looked. Remember watching those CrossFit games in the beginning? You'd be like, oh my God, what are those athletes doing? We hold our athletes to a different standard now, right? And I hope they do too. But yeah, how long is this going to withstand? How much is it going to grow? And again, like how many hiccups are they going to have? But when you put it out there, all these things, you got to hold it to a standard. And I know you will. Don't let me down.
I know. I'm like, do the doo doo.
Don't let me down. Do the doo doo. Do the doo doo.
We'll find out, man. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm excited for them. I hope it works out.
Well, and then on that note, let's just go over our little deets for a second.
That's true.
I haven't said this in a hot minute. I think I do because you guys didn't hear the conversation we were having before this. But thank you to my co-host and everything she does and brightening up my day.
I do so much for free.
She does. And thank you guys for listening. If you feel like this podcast is your Swig Up pre-workout, remember to follow, hit the like button. You don't want to miss an episode of this funness, right? And
Swig pre-workout. We should do that.
And oh my gosh, my train of thought really
until we meet. Not just references.
Yeah. So my references were, of course, off of the WFP.com, but there's also the World Food Program.
Yeah, so be careful with that.
It's World Fitness Program. And then also I got all my other stuff from everythingcrossfit.com/worldfitnessproject 2025. They were a great reference of breaking everything down. And I know Joyce got her information on.
I also did the WFP, but worldfitnessproject.com. And then I also had, what did I say?
Barbell spin.
Barbell spin as well.
Yeah, so you guys could check those out. You can also shoot us a DM, a message. If you see us at the gym and be like, hey, dodos, this is where all the information is. Because again, you guys, we just briefly talk about it. Like we think of a subject and go, hey, we want to know more about that subject. And we write about it and we talk about it. And again, I walked in and was like, I'm so confused. How's this gonna happen?
What are we talking about?
So just if you have a topic that you want us to talk about, a PR.
Murder mystery.
PR. No, I am down.
I know.
Okay, so when we get off, we're going to do that and write down what we're going to do. And I think those are going to be our next episodes.
Yes, I think I'm down.
If you have a PR for yourself, for a friend, if you think you go to the best affiliate and want to shout them out or want them to be on the segment, or if you're an owner and want to be on our affiliate segment, because we love going to, we love touring affiliates. We love talking to the owners and seeing how they're growing the community inside the gym and outside the gym. Please email us at savagelyscaled1@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram at savagelyscaled. Either way, we love to do shout out for PRs. We love to do that. So much stuff going on. Congratulations to Nicole, because your coach can calculate, and she thought she was hitting 115 for a new double, and she got 120. So that was great for her. Great job to what are the Hanks kids, Trisha's son and daughter, for what they did for their back squats. They did amazing stuff too. Yeah. And they didn't get on my nerves as much. No, I'm just kidding, Trisha.
I'm like, I don't know, man. They were going hard at you. I was like, oh.
But congratulations to that. And again, I only see those PRs, but if you guys have a PR that you want to shout out, please let us know. If you want to shout out a friend, let us know. Gym related. If you have this, if you want to be anonymous and be like, hey, this is what's going on at my gym, and you want us to talk about it and see what we want to do, like a little tea on the side, we can do that too. Just DM us. All right. And remember, don't be a Karen, be a Sharon, and keep sharing all that love.
I love it.
And until
we meet
at the whiteboard again.
Bye.
Bye.